Trap Media USA. Said we ain't did the morning one in a minute. Wake bake boxing and the culture. We coming off a good night of boxing last night. If you was tuned in, I'm sure you enjoyed. If you wasn't over on Southern T, make sure you go check me out over there. We had a very good episode where we discussed boxing, different racial things in the community. And of course, I was doing my showbiz thing. So, if you understand the program, you understand. But definitely go support that brother. And I also was on Corey Lee briefly during the Anagua fight. The Asian, I think he fought what's your boy name? Tevin Farmer before. Yeah, so we was just talking about that. I see a lot of potential in him, and I think he would be a better matchup for Shakur and a style change up than Jamel. I like his speed. I like his power. I don't think he's big enough for Shakur, but I think it would be good to see. But I think him and Chris Colbert is very interesting. So definitely check that fight out. I seen a little bit of the Figueroa Cool Boy fight. It was too much holding for me, so I just went to sleep on it. I can't really watch a fight with excessive holding and the referee's not calling it. I like to see inside work. So typically, when it's something like that, at this point, I'm just disgusted with that coming off Sean Porter fight and just remembering Kale Brook, and I just want a boxing where I can see my fighters work inside and I can see their inside game. But yeah, shout out everybody who's been supporting the channel. Tony Reviews, Ghost, Jalik, uh, yeah, whoever else. Just know it's appreciated. Not as consistent as most channels, but on the big topics where I feel like it's something else to get out of it, I definitely do want to touch on it. So let's get into Teofimo Kambosos. Now, going into it, the whole narrative, it's like with the Charlos, like the whole narrative changed on Teofimo. Everybody went from supporting Teofimo to Teofimo killing his brand outside the ring. And for up and coming fighters, if you tapped in, pay attention and be careful of this. Watch the Charlos, watch Teofimo. Everything doesn't have to be said. Coming off an exciting win against Lomachenko, for an NBA player, would be like, you beat LeBron in one on one, based on the hype. Whether you thought he was this good or not, the facts is, think only lost two amateur fights out of 300, two-time gold medalist. Yes, he did lose to Salido, but, it was some skills in there that universally I heard respected, even when I heard a lot of our community talk about it. He went in there as the underdog and got the upset. And I think if he could go back, he wouldn't have said anything about Devin. I think when the black community stopped supporting Tiafimo, it took a lot of juice out of him. When he started getting put in the box with everybody else, because I believe in Brooklyn, he's coming up around the culture. He's coming up around us. So when that's pulled under his leg, it make him try to, how LeBron, when he was with the Heat and he went from good guy to bad guy, but then when he left the Heat, he was like that wasn't him, and he just needed to be him to be at his best. I think it's a similar thing with Tio. He wanted to just be, the goofy, laid back, fun, not too serious. And I think once everybody started attacking him on Twitter, you ducking Devin and all that pressure, I think he spoke too soon. At first, I didn't believe that sparring affected him, but a lot of guys like our Tony Review, everybody was saying like, man, he weight drained. That Devin sparring, I think her name was Destiny. She was on the set. Everybody was saying that pre-fight, and I just didn't think. I felt like he had the time to address whatever mental he had going on, and I just didn't see enough from Kambosos, and I didn't think he would be able to box as well as he did. And I thought Tio would be able to get him out of there. But you can't have I'm just gonna walk you down and get you out of there mentality. I didn't see any body work. I didn't see any good coaching. And I was saying on Southern T last night that because she was saying that she had the house and all that, and Devin Haney's young, but I was saying Tio's dad didn't seem sturdy, like mentally, like he seemed a bit, erratic, so that could affect his upbringing and how he moves and how stable he is. And I, didn't know his relationship with his mom. Never really heard him talk about nothing like that. And we seen that last night. It wasn't truth being spoken to Tio. It wasn't, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that. You need to correct this. Tio just seemed in his own zone, and he was just set on, I'm gonna knock this guy out. And this guy, he didn't have any respect for Tio. I thought it was posturing, and I thought he was just talking at these press conferences and trying to get in Tio's head, which he did, but he actually believed everything he was saying. He really felt like T.O. was soft. And from early on, I think it was the first or second round, I could see like, oh, he really doesn't respect this guy. He wasn't worried about the power. He ended up taking the power late in the fight, got up, and or most guys would have retreated or immediately tried to hold. T.O. shouldn't have started talking to him because the competitor in Kambosos, T.O. said something to him, and that woke him back up. It's like he was almost out, and T.O. said something that woke it reminded him like, oh no, this dude's soft, and that's pretty much how he fought. Like he was fighting a soft guy that he had no respect for, and that he was just mentally better than, and his skill set proved to be better than. The speed proved to be the difference. Whereas I thought it would be the strength, it was the speed. So this is definitely one of the biggest upsets that I've seen. Tio has to work on his boxing. I think it would help him to move to southpaw because, like I said, you can get more speed, and when you built like wide, fighting from your normal form, it can be different throwing that jab. Like you can see, it seemed awkward when Sean Porter throw his jab, or you see Tank. Most of these guys only throw hooks because of the frame, but if you switch up into a stance that's not your normal stance, it makes it easier to get that jab off. And your hook is the check hook, like like Bud does. Now Bud isn't built like that to where he has to do it. But I'm saying, especially if you have that wider football ish frame, I think it would help a lot of these fighters. And your arms aren't that long. Just switch up. If you're orthodox, switch southpaw. If you southpaw, switch orthodox, and you're gonna notice it's a lot easier to get that jab off with speed and your power right in the front. So you're not just chasing that power shot from the back. So that would be my advice. And if the headshot's not there, man, throw that same power to the body, Tio. That's all I would have did. Just throw that body to the that power to the body. But for future fighters, man, if you lose, just accept your loss. We don't knock you for losing, and Cambosis could have just been a lot better than a lot of people thought. Now I heard on the YouTube community, but from the big pundits, it was, Cambosis isn't that guy. He's just going to be walked through. Even some people's young favorite, Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis said that Cambosos isn't world level, and we were. I was proven wrong. Keyshawn Davis was proven wrong. A lot of the mainstream outlets, were proven wrong. But Tio, when you lose a fight like this, you don't go in there talking about you was up 10. You know you wasn't up 10 too, because it makes people who supported you like me. I can't support you no more after that. It's the same thing Pacquiao did. I have no problem with a fighter losing. You see me 100% still behind Sean Porter, but you cannot go out there and try to take away from somebody that had a great performance. They put it all in there, and they came to your country, your city, and got the upset. And you just take that like a man. You shake his hand. You apologize for all the antics and the disrespect, because he might have sensed that too. You were disrespect. Not only did he think you was soft and you was faking, you was disrespecting his caliber and his pedigree and his father, just everything. You put all that behind you, and his dad was still talking the same stuff. So I agree with a lot of people on Twitter. I would get away from the father, and just get around some people that's gonna really help Tio work on the fundamentals, and a Kevin Cunningham. He need like a real sturdy male figure in his life, because at this point he seems just too unstable, too off the rail. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was some outside the ring tragedy that happened to Tio. People were saying he was going to the Keith Thurman realm. Keith Thurman wasn't depressed. Keith Thurman just found peace outside of boxing. Teofimo can go into a deep depression to where, maybe drugs or some type of suicide mission or driving too fast. And like, I would just try to get some solid people around To. And I think from what I've seen from a lot of these coaches, one of the most sturdiest is Kevin Cunningham, especially, coming off a loss. He worked with Broner. That seemed to help Broner a little bit. He worked with Tank, and he worked with Lubin coming off. So he's used to these type of experiences. So stop trying to be that bad guy. We seen it didn't work for LeBron, and he came out and admitted it once he left the Heat. That just wasn't him. That's not you, To. You don't have to be tough. You don't have to be a gangster, and there's nothing wrong with taking a loss. You can still hold your head up, but you got to come out and apologize to Kambosos, and now they blaming the zone like it was a fix. That's just not cool. If your pop's gonna be talking like that, and you can't get him to stop talking like that, then you might have to get him out your circle. I mean, you can still keep the family relationship, but that's just as crazy as Sean Porter Pop doing what he doing. He almost makes Sean Porter father look all right after what I seen yesterday. It just was embarrassing. Not the loss, but the not accepting the loss and not showing respect to your opponent. So I just can't support that any longer. Anything that Teofimo does in the future, until he apologizes or just come out and be like, "Man, I lost this, and that," and be respectful about it, I can no longer support him. So, young fighters, pay attention to Teofimo. Pay attention to Jamel and Jamal Charlo. Don't destroy your brand outside the ring. Don't try to go against the grain, even if it's something you don't agree with. Just understand you're a boxer first, and protect your brand at all costs. Because I'm one fan, yes, but once you start losing one, you can start losing two. The same way you build it, the same way you can lose it. So, Trap Media USA, like, share, subscribe. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Have a blessed Sunday. I'm out.